Alright guys, TatCrab here today. We're going to be talking about the CMG Prodown that concluded last night. A very interesting turn of events. Forfeits all over the place. The grand finals forfeited. We're going to be talking through exactly what reasons caused that and some other drama surrounding the tournament as a whole and how it sets up really nicely for the Pro League Qualifier, which begins on January the 16th. I'll do my best to cover that all when that does transpire. So like if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always. It is free after all. And let's get right into it. So the first thing to mention is there was no 2Ks this weekend due to the Pro League Qualifier coming up very shortly, but there was the Prodown. So if you're not too familiar with what the Prodown is exactly, so Checkmate Gaming have organised this tournament which pretty much goes on every week in association with the pros to pretty much get them as best practice as possible. It was initially designed in kind of contrast to the 2Ks because none of the pros really want to play endless rounds of the 2Ks before they can get good practice against pro teams. So this is just a tournament that's been set up pretty much every weekend between the top teams. And yeah, so really it's for practice at the end of the day. And that's going to be an important part when we go through the rest of this video. And it really does harken back to the video I did a while ago on whether pros should stream scrims. Because after all, scrims are practice, and this is effectively practice. So a lot of the things I said in that video will be relevant as we go through the news today. But Optic and United didn't play this one. I'm not sure exactly why. The likelihood is because, okay, the Pro League's a long way away, don't really need the practice considering they've already qualified. And also, the Philadelphia Eagles, I think, were playing in the NFL or something like that. And JCap's a massive fan, TJ's a massive fan, Karma maybe, I'm not sure. So I think they were missing it to watch that or, you know, something like that, but Optic and United didn't play. So the participants were 100 Thieves, E6, EG, FaZe Black, FaZe Clan, G2, LG, Tainted Minds, who are over in the States now, I think in a team house or something, so they had a 5-man host, a penta host, Project 18, which is Teddy Rex's team. Supposedly this is actually the organisation they're going to be under. I thought it was some sort of name that they'd come up with, kind of similar to Ready for Hire, which is the name of Spacely's team. But yeah, this actually is an organisation. Apparently they're setting up their Twitter in the next couple of days, so that's kind of interesting. Splice and LG are there. They were already made the Pro League, of course. Envy, UYU or UU, Ready for Hire, Spacely's team, Red Reserve, Reciprocity, and the Pittsburgh Knights. Interestingly omitted were Season, which is like Illy's crew, like Illy, Simp, Onyx, Paul, and Shotzi, I think, were in the last one or something like that. Yeah, that was the team, I think. So they were excluded from this one to let the pro teams practice ahead of the Pro League Qualifier. And, you know, what's kind of ironic is that a lot of forfeits happened towards the end. So, you know, maybe Season were a worthwhile pick instead of some of these other teams. But anyway, let's go through the bracket. So it's a very interesting turn of events. A lot of these games are actually forfeit wins, and we'll go through exactly what the reasons were for that. And there was definitely some other drama and controversy with some of these games, especially surrounding 100 Thieves. And I'm not probably aware of every single drama and every single little thing that happens. So if you guys are aware, be sure to leave them down in the comment section below and correct me if I miss anything. So I think that G2 straight up got 3-0'd by FaZe. I don't think that was a forfeit or anything. Pretty good result considering how good they were looking in last week's one, and FaZe, you know, making this roster change with Celium. Really, the interesting thing here is let's just have a look at the results first of all before we go through. E6, Reciprocity, and FaZe Clan. E6 obviously is the standout, like, damn, like, how did they win? But, you know, we have the forfeit situation to consider. They also are on, like, a penta host, I think, in Michigan or something, in a house. And, okay, yeah, people always say the penta hosts online definitely gives an advantage. Reciprocity have the same thing. I'm not sure if FaZe have the same, but, you know, the top two are in 5-man houses, so maybe that does say something. If we look at the Pro League Qualifier, though, people were talking on the comments of the video a few videos ago when I talked about the pool play for the Pro League Qualifier and my predictions for it. There were some questions as to which pool is the pool of death, and it's very interesting to see that 3 of the teams in this Prodown, Reciprocity, FaZe, and Enigma6, the top 3, all in Pool A, in addition to FaZe Clan Black, who did relatively well as well. Okay, yeah, they come here at top 12, but maybe that's kind of what you expect given this field of talent. But so much talent in Pool A here, and we're not even including Team Sweden, who aren't even in the States yet, and they come top 6 at Vegas, so this sets a super scary precedent for the upcoming Pro League Qualifier for a lot of these teams that are in Pool A and are really going to struggle to get out guaranteed into the Pro League and might have to go through that bracket, or at least one of the hot favourites will very likely have to do so. So, FaZe beat G2 3-0, Splice take down FaZe Clan Black 3-0 as well. I think that was relatively convincing from what I saw. Reciprocity beat Spacely's team 3-2. Tainted Minds beat Luminosity 3-2 as well. LG, of course, the Pro League is a while away. They don't have to worry too much about practice. They're already locked in. But Tatum Mines beating them is kind of a big surprise, I would say. Yes, Tatum Mines have this like 5-man house or whatever's going on, but it does look kind of promising for an APAC team to potentially make the Pro League. If Tatum Mines are looking that good, okay, it's only one series online, can't really read too much into it, but, you know, they didn't get completely blown out this tournament, let's put it that way. Project 18, Teddy Rex's team, they beat 100 Thieves again. I think they did a similar thing last time in the last Prodown. There were definitely some issues here in terms of lag. I think people were saying that Octane was lagging quite a lot, and that really gave them some issues, especially when they dropped down to the losers bracket here, this 3-0 versus Envy. I think what a lot of this was down to is that they lost map number 1 and Octane was still lagging, so they decided to forfeit the rest of the series. They went out top 16, and it's really interesting because going into Vegas, 100 Thieves were looking really good online. They were coming top 2 in a lot of the Pro Downs, losing only to Optic Gaming. They go in, they come top 12, abysmal. This time, they're looking bad online. Maybe in scrims they've looked a bit better, but definitely the Pro Downs they haven't been good as of late. And then they go into the event. Are they going to be better than their online performances, or are they going to be worse like they were going into Vegas? So it's a really interesting scenario. Who knows what to predict from this 100 Thieves squad? On paper, they should make the league no problem at all, but you know, it's difficult to say. So, UU look like they beat Envy. I'm not sure whether that's a legit result or a forfeit. I have to take these 3-0s with a grain of salt here. But they're not in the same pool, so I have no reason why they would have forfeited that one. Yeah, Pittsburgh Knights versus Evil Geniuses. I think a lot of these initial matchups were chosen so that people wouldn't play teams in the same pool as them at the Pro League Qualifier, which obviously you don't want to play teams in the same pool. We'll get into this in a couple minutes' time, but any little tendency or any little break-off tactics or something that you could give away to the other team is something you don't want to do, especially when this event is super important. Yes, this Checkmate Gaming Prodown, the winner's $2,000, second place $500. That's a spare bit of pocket change. But, well, for the pro teams at least, on the salaries they're earning now. But when you look at the Pro League, it's absolutely enormous, like $700,000 in prize pools or whatever for, you know, the actual Pro League itself and the playoffs and what it means for the practice you get. Absolutely super valuable getting into the Pro League this season. If it's not, your career might as well be over until all the way to champs. So, you know, any small advantage people can gain, they're going to go for. And that's why we saw these forfeits and things going on as we move forward here. So, Pittsburgh Knights take down EG 3-2. E6 beat Red 3-2 as well. They're both on 5-man houses, so that's an interesting one. So the second round here will actually drop down to the losers bracket, why not? So Red versus EG, they said that Hardpoint and the Control were really close, and I think Rated tweeted something like, in the Search and Destroy, they just 5 ran down the lane. They didn't want to give any strategies away or any tendencies or anything like that. And yes, people say that Call of Duty doesn't have much strategic depth, which is definitely true. Compared to a game like Counter-Strike or a MOBA game, there's not a lot of strategic depth for Call of Duty. It is a lot of calling on the fly, but there is some strategic depth. There is some strategy, some play where you can make a flank, try and incorporate somewhere where you play an early push, you make the defense react in a certain way, and then you can pinch, or, you know, there's definitely some cool strategies you can come up with, especially in a 5v5 setting. Yes, a lot of the time in Black Ops 4, it's just 4 hitting a site, or 5 hitting a site, it's 5v5 of course. But there's definitely some strategies that can be incorporated, and giving anything away when such an important match in pools, you never know. It could be a round 11, this EG versus Red's S&D that comes around in pool play that we are going to see because they're matching up with each other in pool play. Even a little tendency like that could help Revan and the guys know, like, this is what they're going to do. So it really does make sense, especially in practice scenario, just to exclude everything from that, and they basically just threw the S&D in this one as far as I'm aware. Envy take down 100 Thieves, we talked about that. That was, I think, a forfeit. LG lose another game 5 to Spacely's team, and FaZe Black beat G2 3-2, which is an interesting one. G2 super up and down, it seems, because G2 looking really good last week, and then they get double first rounded here. EG take down Splice as well, 3-0. You know, as I said, I don't know how many of these are forfeits or whatever, but I don't see any reasons why this would be a forfeit win, considering, you know, Splice is already in the Pro League. Envy beat Tatum Mines 3-0. UU beat Ready for Hire 3-1, and then Pittsburgh Knights take down FaZe Black 3-0. Pittsburgh beat UU in the next round. Envy beat EG. If we look back at round 2 here, so FaZe got the better of Splice 3-2. Reciprocity took down Tatum Mines, as I guess you would expect, 3-1. And yeah, Project 18 3-0ing UU. It's super scary, isn't it? Because this Project 18 team is also in Pool A. It's Teddy Rex's squad. Yes, I guess some of those guys on that team are known to be onliners, S&D stars, whatever. But Pool A is, oh my god, is it scary. Like 6 of these teams could qualify, I think. It's rather nuts. And E6 take down Pittsburgh Knights. They end up beating Project 18 as well. So FaZe take down Reciprocity 3-0. I think this may very well have been a forfeit, considering they're both in the same pool, as we've discussed a few times now. And yeah, it's very interesting. They didn't want to play each other. I think the top 3 in this bracket, they decided, you know, we're all in the same pool. It's not worth us playing each other. We all want the best for ourselves. And that's what Shawnee tweets about in a second. We'll have a look at that. So down to losers again. Reciprocity takes on Envy 3-1. Pittsburgh Knights 3-0 Project 18. And then in this final bracket, E6 actually did play FaZe. This was an actual match that happened. I don't know how much they would have revealed about their S&D strats in this one, but E6 win it 3-2 in the end. Rec take down Pittsburgh, and then these final 2 matches were forfeited. E6, I think, get the unofficial victory, but who knows who would have won out of these lot. According to Shawnee, as you can see here, GG's, Envy and Pittsburgh Knights won 3-0, 3-1. Probably won't be playing the final, as we have E6 in our group at the PLQ. And yeah, this guy says FaZe. All 3 of us are in the same group. No point playing. We all agreed. A little bit of explanation from the E6 guys as well. So Jordan General says GG's to all the team we played. We played well all tournament. Since top 3 in the pool down are in pool A, we all, you know, they decided not to play. So yeah, a little bit of a different events here, because Shawnee's saying that we all agreed, and then General saying that they decided not to play. So who knows exactly what is the truth? And Kismet said as well. So yeah, Reciprocity and FaZe decided to end the tournament due to all 3 of us being in the same pools. So apparently it was their decision, on the Reciprocity's and FaZe decision. Enigma6 would have gone through with it if they wanted to. But yeah, so this is a fantastic event for them. They did really well, even though it's online. And really the drama is about the lack of streams in this tournament was one of them. And also the forfeit situations, because a lot of people suggesting that, okay, there's not too much you can gain. People really annoyed that pros weren't streaming. There was a thread on Reddit today, which was an absolute cluster. Like, this was one of the comments from Marky B, which I think sums up my opinion really on the matter. There's no reason why pros should necessarily have to stream. Necessarily they don't want to stream. I think CMG and the people putting on the tournament should definitely have a stream of their own. There's no reason why there's so much demand for people to watch these kind of events, and the pros don't want to stream it because it distracts them from getting their quality practice. They can't say everything they would like to say on stream that they could if they weren't streaming, for example. Also, it means that, you know, even things on the minimap and little communications and micro talks, and someone saying like, oh, you know, on this rotation, rotate back this particular way, finding out what these guys' setups are, particularly on the offense, like, and as Marky B says right here, ex-player streaming 3 days before the Prodown to then lose in the qualifier will be quickly forgotten, and he's exactly right. If you don't make the league, you know, you'll be remembered, especially if you're a top team, you'll be remembered for years to come pretty much. But if you didn't stream 3 days before the Prodown, no one's going to care in about a couple weeks' time. So I think this kind of sums it up. I just want to go through this post to finish off the video, really. Pros are judged on their performances, their jobs are on the line. And one thing to mention is, as I talked about in that 2018 Rostermania Saga video relatively recently, with the rich guy coming into the scene and Nadeshot putting up big figures as well to sign his players, the question really is, pros don't need to stream anymore. Back in the day, they needed to create some sort of personality, some sort of content in order to maintain, you know, basically keep an income. But now, this is their full-time job. They're earning easily enough money to survive without streaming, and it's just an extracurricular activity, which is potentially detrimental to the quality of their practice. So I can very much understand why pros aren't willing to do so, and, you know, some people, they don't have the personality to stream for X amount of hours a day. Of course, when you don't stream and then you're complaining that Optic has all the fan base or whatever, then there's a little bit of a false dichotomy there. But that's not the topic we're going to be talking about today. Players not making the league could cost them their salaries, their organisations and their spots on teams. Players have invested a lot of time into this, some without actual qualifications to exit and quickly get another job. There's a lot on the line. This is the line I already talked about here. You guys need to get off the players' backs. There's a reason players don't stream. I'm sure each and every pro player has taken advantage of gameplay streamed online. I speak from personal experience regardless of what you guys think. When pros are watching other pros, they're taking mental notes of tendencies. Even if it factors into 1 kill a game, that's still not worth it for players. CoD is a game of minor margins. How many times have you seen games come down to 1 kill or 1 decision? I'm sure you guys have seen plenty, and I think that final sentiment really does sum it up in terms of the pros' decision making, because there is no reason for them to stream it if they are even going to forfeit the slightest advantage. It may be just the tiniest thing. on a rotation to a new hardpoint, what exactly is their perfect 5-man setup if they're allowed to adopt it? What do players say to each other in terms of using their specialist? Or when the other team has a specialist or something like that, when do they expect it to be pulled out? Do they adapt in certain scenarios? Even though that little small talk, and yes, okay, you can stream without communication, but it still doesn't dilute the fact that the opening breaks, for example, in hardpoint can be manipulated, the kind of rotations people make and control, and these few days before the Pro League, you can guarantee that if anyone was streaming them, like the coaches and the players would be all over those streams looking for any little micro adjustment that they could possibly take into their game when they match up against those teams again at the Pro League Qualifier, because it is undoubtedly one of the biggest events of the year, maybe the biggest in terms of what it means for players' careers. And I was hearing people say on Spitfire that, damn, if pros don't make it, high-level pros, we could see a lot of retirements after this event, and that's something I really hadn't considered, but it's definitely on the line. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. A bit of a long one, really. Talked a lot of different things, and a very interesting situation we had over the last couple of days. I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts on all of this in the comment section below. If you have any thoughts, I'm sure they'll be very good ones. So yeah, like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you are new as always. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.